Welcome to Child Development 100. This is an online class, so in these PowerPoints we'll be going over parts of the syllabus, course requirements and assignments, as well as relevant information for the course. These PowerPoints will be available throughout the class, so you can always cite back to it if you need additional information about the class or any of the assignments. There are also online written instructions for each of the assignments in the very first module, which is course requirements. It also has information about services available through Palomar, such as the disability services and writing services. And it also has our child development success guide. So the very first module is going to be the place where you go back to in order to get more relevant information about any course requirements, the syllabus, anything relevant to the class you're going to find in that first module on Canvas. Hi, welcome to Child Development 100. This is an online class. Thank you for choosing this course. I know that you have a lot of options out there. There's a lot of reasons that you might be taking this class, but I do look forward to working with you guys over the next 16 weeks here on Canvas. Here's a picture of me that you will also see up on Canvas as well. It's me with 2 out of my 3 children. Getting everybody in a family of 5 to look at the camera and smile is quite impossible, so this is the best I could come up with. I just want to work through some slides with you guys, outlining the course, my expectations for the course, assignments that you'll have, and then resources as well. This information from this PowerPoint will be available as well in the syllabus, which will be on Canvas for the duration of the course. So there's a syllabus section on the left-hand side on Canvas, and all of this information will be available to you in that syllabus. More specific course requirements or instructions for the specific course requirements are also always going to be in the first module on Canvas, and it will also remain there for the duration of the class. So the way that this course is structured, it's a 16-week totally online course. We'll have one in-person meeting, which is our very first orientation, which is the Monday before school starts. And that's where you will be introduced to the course content and the syllabus as well. And it's also a chance for you to ask questions. But other than that, this class is totally online. And how we do it is it's a narrated PowerPoint, such as this, and that's how you'll get your course content. And then part of that will be lots of pictures, me describing the pictures, and videos as well to give you some more information and background on how children learn and develop. There'll also be a weekly additional reading to support the knowledge that I have given to you within the course content. There'll be online discussion boards, which are mandatory, so your participation once a week is graded. So that is going to contribute to an overall grade at the end of the course, the 16 weeks. So you'll have a bunch of discussion boards that you need to participate in each week. And then there's also weekly online assignments, which are video assignments. So you're going to watch a short video. They're anywhere from 1 minute to 6 minutes. And then you're going to answer 5 questions about the video that you've seen. And once again, this is just designed to encourage and to support the learning that I've given you through the course contents and the readings. I do want to point out that this is a 3-unit class. So you are expected to spend 3 hours working on this class per unit. So that's 9 hours a week that you're expected to be working on this class. Every week you'll have assignments that you need to do, you'll have discussion boards that you need to participate, and readings that you need to do. In addition to this, there are other course requirements such as a research paper and 2 observations that you need to do of children. So that is a lot of work over 6 weeks. So in those 9 hours a week that you should be working on this class, you have a lot of different responsibilities that you need to work on. So the additional course requirements for this are to observe a child and then to do a research paper. There'll be an opportunity to turn in a rough draft, and then there'll also be the research paper that's done at the end of the year, at the end of the course. So let's say you have a question or a concern, or you just need to speak with me. The best way to contact me as an instructor is by email. So I have a jcrossway@advancedgoik email. I will email you twice a week from my email, letting you know about things that are happening, assignments that are coming due, and maybe some course content as well. So expect an email from me twice a week. As well, there on Canvas, on the left-hand toolbar, there is a messaging section, so you can always shoot me a message as well. It actually goes straight to my email, so that's where I will be responding to you from. I check my email daily, Monday through Friday. I teach 2 other classes, and I also have another part-time job, but I make it a priority to check my email Monday through Friday, and you'll always have a response back within 24 hours, typically much sooner as well. I am going to check my email sporadically on Sunday. That's when our assignments are due. But I will not be up till midnight waiting for assignments to come through and checking my email. So if you know that you're having some technological difficulties reaching out to Palomar's information services desk, they can help with email questions or any kind of IT questions. And then our academic technology, who can help with apps and Canvas and stuff like that, will be the best resource for you if you know that you're having some technological difficulties. Into talking about the research paper, the biggest thing is that I want you to email me with your choice of topic, and the due date for that will be on Canvas as well, and I will remind you in one of the announcement emails. The reason that I want everyone to individually email me with their choice of topic is kind of to approve it, but more really to give you focus and direction for your paper. A lot of times students will pick ideas that are too big or too small, and in the space that we have to explore, which is really only 2 to 3 pages of actual writing, you need to have a lot of focus and direction on your paper. So I want you to pick something that's relevant to you. So this is a very fast class. Once again, it's only 8 weeks. So in the first week to 2, as you're listening to me lecture or you're doing some reading, what jumps out to you individually as interesting? Then you're going to want to kind of understand something about that, and then I will help you. So if you want to know more about social and emotional development or epigenetics or physical development, if by emailing with me I can help you and give you direction and ways that you can make arguments or anything like that. I think topics that you might want to explore, if you want to work with young children, you want to be a preschool teacher, an infant toddler teacher, a theorist. So we'll go more into our theorists, but it's Jean Piaget and Erik Erikson. Those would be the people that you'd want to explore, and once again, we'll talk more about it. A philosophy of education. So if you want to be a general education field, like you want to be a preschool teacher, you want to be an elementary or middle school teacher, or you're just looking into maybe specific school types for your own kids, like eventually they'll go to school or they'll be in preschool, a philosophy of education like Montessori, Waldorf, Reggio Emilia, anything like that. If you are a parent yourself or are soon to be a parent or want to be a parent and you'd like to know some effective and positive ways to discipline, so guidance techniques for toddlers or teenagers, that would be a great topic as well. Or if you're going into business, marketing, sales, you really want to be able to reach out to your clients or the people that you're working with. And so you need to know how people learn. How do they take in information? How will they best understand you? And that would be Howard Gardner, and he has these multiple ways to learn, multiple intelligences. So if you're a salesperson, finance, business, marketing, anything like this, this would be an area of interest to you because we all learn in different ways, and knowing how people really learn can help you. So that's some general ideas about possible interest areas that you might have already and areas of focus that you might want to start exploring. You will have to explore on your own and then come up with an idea. Autism, social and emotional development, epigenetics, genetic development, pregnancy, really anything like that. But you then just need to email me so that I can make sure you're on the right track, because in a fairly small paper, and we'll talk about how long it is later on, you really need to have a good area of focus and direction in order to do a good job on it. So the format for our research paper, we've talked about theorists, we've talked about possible topics, and by February 10th, 2018, I want you to have emailed me. If you have a topic already on the first day of class, please email it to me. It doesn't all need to come in on February 10th. Just by that date, I want to have touched base with all of you in order to help you gain focus and direction on your paper. But while we're talking about this, please have looked at page 54 in our Child Development Success Guide. So our abbreviations for child development in this department are CHDV, Child Development. So we have the Success Guide, and on page 54, they're going to give you a lot of information about formatting papers, which can be really helpful. And as well, we also have written instructions on the course module on Canvas. So the very first module is called Course Requirements, and it's got the information on the research paper. It talks about the topic and outline. It gives you the grading rubrics for both the rough draft and the final draft. And then on the second page, it also gives you directions on how to start your research paper, how you organize it, and things like that. So the very first thing is that you're using our APA standards. So that includes a title page, an abstract, a running head, page number, stuff like that. And then in the body of the paper, you're going to have an introduction, which describes your topic, the question you're investigating, or posing an argument or a different point of view. Then you're going to have a research section, or the body of the paper, which is the research section. This is really the core of your paper, where you talk about the research and the evidence that you have to support your argument, the topic, or the question that you've posed. So you're really finding a scholarly book or a journal, something that's been peer-reviewed, something that's coming from a relevant and credible source, and you're citing that to support the argument or the topic that you've picked. Then the very last part is the conclusion, or your opinion. This takes all the information that you've learned about through the research section, and it's going to glean and talk about the opinions and the ideas that you went over in your research section and what conclusions you've drawn. So you're kind of injecting yourself into this part with what you learned, what you didn't learn, did you find it relevant, things like that. Then we want to make sure that you're using your APA format. So example references are cited. So I've shown an example from Laurel Anderson, Dr. Laurel Anderson. She's one of the instructors here at Palomar, and she wrote a book. So I've given you an example of how we would write the references for that. So write a rough draft. It's worth 10 points. That's going to give you some feedback from me about your topic, your argument, and also if your research is coming from a credible source or not. So that feedback is going to help you with your final report, which is worth 30 points. So you don't have to do a rough draft, but by doing it, you are going to get some help from me in order to make your final report better and to the best of your ability. So when I'm grading the research paper, both the rough draft and the final draft, please see the written instructions which is in the course requirements module, the first module on Canvas. So this is 2 pages. If you read this while I'm talking about it right now, or you get a chance to before you get started, it's going to be really important for you to see how I grade it and what my rubric is, so that you know what you should include. So first of all, this includes how you format the paper. So that's the title page, the abstract, and then like a running head, page number, stuff like that. So that's really important that you include all of that, because grading can be taken down for that. And that's a really easy thing to do. So once you know APA, or if you're learning it right now, taking a few minutes to see how to format your research papers gives you extra easy points when I'm grading this. You also need an introduction, and I've talked about that this is where you formulate an argument or you pose a question that you're going to answer through your research. So I've given an example of what are the signs and symptoms of child abuse. That would be a great place in your introduction to talk about what your question is, what your argument is, why it's important to you, and how you're going to go about answering it. Then you're going to have research, and this is coming from credible sources online, from journals online, from peer-reviewed journals online, or from your textbook, or from books that you find in the library. So it's important that it's coming from a credible source. So if you were wanting to look into Montessori education, you probably don't want to get all of your research from one spot in all papers that you write, but you wouldn't want to go to a paid website that has to do with Montessori education. So if you're looking at the Association for Montessori Teachers, that's kind of a place where people pay dues, and they're not going to be as credible because they firmly believe in Montessori education. They're not going to be as objective about it. And it might also be a place where people have to pay for information or pay to be in membership, so that's going to be like less of an ideal spot for you. So making sure that the research that you are finding online is credible. Having a .edu or a .org is really going to show you that it comes from an educational source or from an organizational source. And then as well, at the very end, you're going to have a conclusion where you talk about the argument or the question that you've posed at the very beginning. You're going to try to answer it to the best of your ability, and you're also going to put your opinion in. So if you've talked about Lev Vygotsky and his theory of scaffolding in the classroom, then you might want to talk about experiences that you've had when, if you think it's possible to recreate that in a classroom. Why is it important for your work with children? Something like that, where you're giving what you learned through your research paper. Then another place to get easy points in your research paper grading is to follow APA standards. So I have in a slide all of the resources that you can use in addition to the Palomar services that you have that you can take part of. So this is a place where I will dock you if you are not up to APA standards, either in how it's formatted or how you do in-text citations or your reference page. If it is plagiarized, it will be returned to you immediately, and I have to go through the official channels when anything is plagiarized. So just be aware that plagiarism is very serious on campus, and it does have to go through the official channels if it does come back as plagiarized. And what I mean by it comes back is we have a plagiarism check, so anytime you submit anything on Canvas as far as your research paper or your observations, it's going to show me any place online that it has been replicated already. So I get an official score, so it could say 78%, 30%, something like that, and that kind of gives me an indication of what percentage of it might have been replicated somewhere else online, and then I can check and it will give me more information. So if you took an entire segment from Lev Vygotsky's work on scaffolding again, but you didn't give him proper credit, it's going to show that to me as soon as it gets turned in on Canvas. So there's really no way that you can get away with plagiarism. So, you know, please don't get yourself in trouble, because like I said, it does have to go through the official channels. It'll go through an integrity team and stuff like that. So just please don't engage in plagiarism, and by using somebody else's work, by not citing it, and then also by not using the correct APA standards when you're talking about in-text citations or your reference page. If you have any questions about that, please see me, or we also have a writing center and a tutoring center that can give you more information about that as well. So your research paper needs to be an APA, and if it's not, then that will result in some points docked, and it very specifically says in the grading how many points we deduct if it isn't up to APA standards. So I will just return the paper to you and go through the official channels if I feel that it has been plagiarized. But if APA standards are not followed, I will either return it to you or I can dock 5 points for that. APA can be difficult if you're used to MLA or you haven't written research papers as part of your college direction yet, then this might feel a little bit difficult to you. I would really say that the Palomar Writing Center and the tutorial services that we have, you pay for these. When you enroll and you pay the student services fee when you enroll, that gives you access to this. So you've already paid for it, so you might as well use it if you're struggling. When I was in math at Miracosta, I really struggled with it. And it took me a while to get up the courage to go to the math lab, but once I did, they were so invaluable in helping me and really helping me pass math so that I could go ahead and transfer to a university. So perhaps math is really easy for you, but maybe writing and these types of classes are not. So I would say that going to our writing center, the tutorial services, are going to be really helpful for you. They know how to write papers and they know how to use APA. So resources, if you can't or don't want to go online, don't want to go to our services in person here at Palomar, there's the OWL site, OWL at Purdue, and this is fantastic. All of my students have given me great feedback about this. We also have San Diego State, Palomar College, Baylor, Tufts. So I've given you a whole lot of resources on this page so that you can start to understand APA. But it is your responsibility to be able to write your paper in this APA style. So either go to Palomar and get their services that way, or go to one of these websites if you need additional help in this area. So I want to talk a little bit about the services that Palomar has available to you. They have a wide range of services to support all learners. So they have math labs, they have writing labs, they have tutoring centers, they have places to help you transfer. It's really fantastic in that way. And I actually started my educational journey over at Miracosta, and the child development part, in the child development area. And I eventually, after 2 years there, I was able to go ahead and transfer to a 4-year university. So I started off very similar to many of you. My struggle is not within writing. My struggle is within math. So I obviously need to do a variety of math classes in order to get my units in order to transfer. And I really, really struggle with math and science. It doesn't come naturally to me. Writing does, art does, history, that type of stuff is really my educational strength. But math and science is not. So I actually used their math labs quite a bit. And it was a real struggle at first. Because I was really embarrassed. I thought that the math tutors were going to think that I was stupid, that I couldn't figure out these, Algebra 100 questions and all this type of stuff. Nothing could be further from the truth. You become a tutor because you want to help people learn, and you don't really care what the starting basis of their knowledge is. You just want to help them get better. So they really have no judgments about where you are. Their only concern is in helping you get better and helping you achieve the grade that you want to get. So in this class, most likely you would be using the Writing Center. So we have a Writing Center, and tutors are available one-on-one, typically by appointment, and that's going to be better, but there are some walk-in basis as time allows. So on this PowerPoint screen, I have all the contact information. So if you feel already in the first class that you're feeling a little bit anxious about this research paper that I've been talking about, or you know that you need to work on your writing centers, please go ahead and use these tutors and use the services. That's what it's for. You've already paid for it. You've paid the Palomar admission cost, so now you might as well use their free services in order to get a better grade and to learn something while you're here. So we are in an online child development class. So I'm going to give you as much information about how children learn in an online format as I can. And that includes videos and pictures and my own kind of discussion and experience with children. But at the end of the day, this is all very theoretical. So we really want you to get out into the community and to observe a child or interview a teen. So there are 4 choices. So in the course requirements module on Canvas, there's written instructions for a child observation interview. So downloading that and looking at this while I'm talking about it will be helpful for you. So I've given you 4 choices. So you can observe an infant, toddler aged child, a preschool aged child, a school aged child, or you can interview an adolescent teen. You're choosing 2 from the 4. So you don't have to do all 4, just choose 2 from the 4. And this depends on how and when you are going to observe. So the first thing that you can do is if you have a niece, a nephew, a cousin, a friend's child, something like that, getting prior approval from the parent, from your cousin or from your friend to observe their child, then you can observe a child that you know within your own life. It just needs to get prior approval from the parent or the guardian to observe that child on 2 different occasions. Or you can observe at a local child development center, daycare, preschool, something like that. So if you're going to go into our community and want to observe at a school, then you can call the child development center or school and get prior approval to go to their child development center or daycare and observe. So if you are going to do that, please read the guidelines for observing or visiting child development centers. And once again, that's on Canvas in our first module. But you need to get prior approval. You can't just walk into somebody's daycare and expect to observe. You can do that at our lab school though. So you don't need to have prior approval in order to go to Palomar's Community College lab school, but you need to have a Palomar student ID. So when you enroll in Palomar for $12, you can get a student ID card, and this gets you free tickets or discounted tickets to the movies and a whole lot of other things that you can take advantage of. I think it's $12, but you need to have a Palomar student ID with you, and it needs to have an orange dot on it. And that means, and that's something you get from one of us instructors, and that means that you've signed our confidentiality waiver, and that's really important. You will not be allowed to observe unless you've signed the confidentiality waiver about doing observations and you have the orange dot on your student ID card. But our observation is going to include a lot of different things, and that will be on our second page. So what the child observation interview actually includes is this following stuff. And once again, you're choosing 2 out of the 4, so you don't have to do all 4, because the written instructions that I have on Canvas in the course requirements module have 4. So they've got the child observation interview assignment. That's the very first page. It's going to give you more information about this. Then there's observation 1, which is an infant or a toddler. Observation number 2, which is the preschool child, then the school-age child, and then the adolescent. And this gives you age ranges as well. So if your cousin has a 26-month-old, then that's considered a toddler. So that would be your first observation choice, which would be the infant or the toddler. And in your observation, you're going over a couple different things. You're going over physical appearance, so body size, complexion, body proportions, hair color, physical features of the child. Then you have an actual observation, which is kind of a running record. So you're explaining to me all of the things that you are observing objectively about the child. So-and-so picked up a block with his left hand, he placed it in his mouth, then he removed it, he looked at it, and then he put it down again. So you're explaining to me in complete sentences what the child did during the 2 different times that you observed the child. Then you're going to analyze. So this is really important. So in the 2 different time block observations that you do of the child, you're going to tell me and you're going to describe to me their motor development, their physical development. So those are the same thing. Motor and physical development are the same. Psychosocial development, so that's social and emotional development, their cognitive development, and their language development. So I want you to use some child development terminology. So this will be concepts or theories to explain your 2 observations. So looking at some information about child development, I'll be giving you a lot as we go through this course, but either looking at your course textbook, going to the library and looking at it, or Googling theorists like Erikson or Piaget is going to give you some information about how you're going to analyze what the child did. So I don't want you to just regurgitate what the child did. I want you to put some more information about terminology or theorists into your observation and interview. As the weeks go along and we learn a little bit more about stage theory and how children learn, this will become a lot more easy for you to understand. Also follow APA if necessary. So if you are quoting Erikson or Piaget when you are observing, then you need to quote it as necessary using the APA format. And then with an interview with an adolescent or a teen, the physical setting and the appearance as well. And then you are designing 10 questions to ask. And then you're comparing and contrasting your findings. So that's the analyze section, and that's just talking about what the child or what the teen answered to you, with the answers that they gave you. You're analyzing those answers and comparing and contrasting what you learned from the child. So part of this class is that you have weekly online quizzes or assignments. There's 1 weekly online assignment per week. So I think there's a total of 15 of them. They're each worth 5 points, and they're only available online on Canvas. I have gotten feedback from past students that the app is not the best place to do this. You can, but sometimes you'll get locked out or it'll freeze up. So it's best to kind of do this on your laptop or your desktop at home. And then Chrome, I've heard, is a really good browser to have. I think Mozilla is okay as well. But I've heard that Chrome is usually the best place to do this type of stuff. They're mostly multiple choice questions from the course content in video form. So I'm giving you a video that's 2 to 6 minutes long. You're going to watch it and then you're going to answer multiple choice questions. You can watch the videos as much as you want. They're on Edpuzzle. That's the platform that I use to store all my videos so that my students can see them all in one place. And you can watch them 50, 60 times. And then you get 1 attempt to do the multiple choice questions on Canvas. If something happens and you need me to open it up again for you, just let me know. They're designed to reinforce the knowledge that I've given you in the course content through our PowerPoints. And you don't have a time limit. So you can spend 30, 50 minutes working on it, but you're not going to have multiple attempts. If you are having problems, though, try a different browser, though. So we have a discussion board, and this will be a weekly discussion board that I will post online on Canvas, and it will be worth 5 points a week. So you must respond to me or a fellow student once a week in order to get those 5 points. I do try to keep it as engaging as possible. For example, this week you're just going to be introducing yourself to the class. Next week we'll be talking about genetics and heredity and conception and things like that, and so we will be posting pictures. I try to keep it as visual as possible, so you're going to be posting a picture of yourself and a genetic trait that you have, or a celebrity. If you don't feel comfortable talking about yourself, then you could post a celebrity who might have a certain genetic trait that you have noticed. So I try to keep them as fun and as engaging as possible while also supporting the course content that I'm giving you online. But it's really important that you respond to myself. You either respond to my question, or you respond with a comment, or you respond with a question of your own. And that's, once again, once a week, and it's worth 5 points every week. So late turn-ins. Most likely many of you will not need to turn anything in. In the off chance that you do, I would like to talk about my policies for turning things in late. So every week you have a weekly assignment. It's a video that you watch, and then you answer a very short quiz or assignment about it, and that's worth 5 points. Then in the discussion boards as well, you have to post weekly to myself as the instructor, or to one of your fellow students once a week. Only once a week, in order to get another 5 points. If you do not do this by Sunday at 11:59 p.m., then I will not accept it. So you will lose 5 points for the weekly assignment or 5 points for the discussion board, depending on which ones you don't turn in. So it's not going to break you if you miss it 1 week, 2 weeks, but anything over the 2 or 3 mark period will start to negatively affect your grade. So please be careful, and please turn in your weekly assignments and your discussion boards. Know that they are always due on Sunday night. I can accept them late if you give me prior advance notice. So if you let me know that something is coming up, or you let me know that you were deathly sick and you were in the hospital, something like that, if you're letting me know before Sunday night, then I can make arrangements with you via email. For example, last semester I had a student who was pregnant. She delivered halfway through the class, and she let me know before, when she first entered the class, what the circumstances were, and then after she delivered, we came up with a plan so that she could make up the work. So I am willing to work with you if you are willing to work with me. As far as a late turn-in for your 2 observations, and then for your research paper rough draft and your research paper final draft, anything that you turn in late will be an automatic 50% deduction in points. So you're automatically not going to pass it. You should probably turn it in to make up those points, because that can help you later on in the semester. But if you need to turn it in late, it's an automatic 50% deduction in points, and it still needs to be turned in within 2 weeks. Once again, if you are giving me prior advance notice of an emergency or an emergent situation that is impacting your ability to turn this in, if you let me know ahead of time, then I can work with you. And then once again, our final exam. So I am letting you go up until the last week of school in order to turn your final exam in. And I give you from a Monday morning to a Saturday afternoon. So you have 6 days in order to turn this in. By doing that, I am putting myself on the line as far as grades. So I cannot be accepting these 2 or 3 days late, because I need to turn grades in so that the rest of the class knows how they did. And a lot of you are waiting for your transcripts, either to transfer, to start a job, something like that. So people really depend on their grades being posted in a timely manner, which means that you need to turn your final exam in when it is due. So the final exam is really just designed to make sure that you're leaving the class with a basic understanding of child development. I'm not going to try to do anything tricky. It's true, false, or multiple choice questions. I will post an ungraded quiz with 35 to 40 questions on it. That will be the week before, and that will be review. That will be all of the questions that I'll ask. I'll pick 20 of those, and that will be your final exam. So while you're taking the review, you'll have 35 to 40 questions. It'll automatically show you the correct answer. It'll be a wide variety of things that we've learned about all the age groups and domains the entire course. But in this, it will give you the opportunity to practice all of the questions that you might see on the final. So when you go into the final, you feel really prepared to take it online. The most important thing, and something I hope I've hammered into you in the video and in this lecture, is that it's due Friday. It's got to be due Friday. That's how Canvas works. I'll be doing grades over the weekend. Friday is the last day of the semester, so I need you guys to know that the final exam is due Friday. Everything else has been due on a Sunday night, but the final exam is due on Canvas on Friday.